Kokakositi, I really wanted to meet you today, but it didn't work out. So I'm going to do this lesson online to give you feedback on the assignment. Now we read this empathy is natural, but nurturing it helps. Now I know most of you understood the text, but there were little things I need to explain. Okay, so empathy is natural. To nurture, as you know, it's an important word to learn here. To nurture is to make it more. You can actually teach people how to be empathetic. Okay, so let's go to the first question. And the first one was define empathy. Now, I explained to you before, but I'd like to explain again. When you have a word like empathy, the first time it's written is here. You with me? Then you have a comma after it. It's normally a definition. So the definition of empathy is the ability to put someone somewhere and recognize and respond to what the other person is feeling. Up until here, all of that is what empathy is, and that is the definition of empathy. Half is not right. You need all of that. So it's two things, and respond to what other people are feeling. Okay? That's the first one, to understand the definition. Now we go on to the next question from paragraph 1. What does the writer think about empathy? She is concerned. She thinks it's lacking. There's not enough. She's distressed. She thinks it's important. So let's go back and find out. All these options are very similar. So let's see what the answer is. My grandson was in the first grade. I was going to ask you okay. Turns out later commented to showing concern. Everyone judge. Empathy is essential ingredients of body. Lacking empathy kind of self-interest without regards to the well-being and feelings of others. And social behaviour needs to be an 8. Okay, so how does she feel about what is the correct answer? She said it's the essential ingredient. Okay, now the lacking, people said that, which was an incorrect answer. She just explains what happens when people don't have it. Okay, so as far as we can make out in this first section, but we can see that basically she is concerned about the whole issue of empathy. Now the next question. Give an example of empathy from paragraph 1. An example I think you all got was with the little boy. The next one, when there is no empathy, I'm just going to have the list of all the questions and who have problems with different questions. The next question, some people got it wrong. I mean, you're not doing more exams, but when they're here, they're squares here, and that means you can choose a few things. So if you just write genocide, it's not correct. Be careful, there are a number of things, and I think it's quite clear in the text. The absence of empathy fosters and all these anti-social behavior, murder, and genocide. 3 of them, that is the answer. You have to have all 3 of them to have the correct answer. Now we come on to the whole business of innate, to be born with something. So let's have a look at the next question. What is an example of the elephant, an example of? And the answer is that it's innate. It appears in not just in people, it also appears in animals. Are children born with the same capacity? I think you all got that right. No, they're not. Some people are born to be very, very empathetic, some aren't. According to the section 3, what are the 2 requirements for empathy? So let's have a look. So here we've got the answer of the elephants. Okay. it always happens. By the time I get here, I forget what the question was. Let's go back again. The 2 requirements for empathy. You need 2 things to have empathy, and what are these 2 things? This is when it's lacking. Okay? No. Okay, let's have a look here. The capacity for empathy may be partly or wholly lacking. We have examples. Some people wrote autism and schizophrenia. These are examples when it's lacking, when there's not enough empathy. But what gives empathy? But in otherwise normal children, the environment to which they were in, whether that's one thing, the environment. And the second thing, which is essential to empathy, is healthy self-esteem. This part here. So those are the 2 things. But if you want to say it in a few words, the environment and healthy self-esteem. Those are the 2 things that make it. Okay, let's go on to the next question. When a child's distress is ignored, they can feel, and again, you can have a few answers. So what happens when you ignore how a child feels? Let's see what happens with that. Okay. Here we are. Infants and young children whose stress is ignored, scorned by, or worse, punished. Okay? Now the answer, what happens? They can quickly become distrustful of their environment and feel unsafe. That's the answer to the question. Do you understand it now? Infants and children whose owning stress can quickly become distrustful of their environment and feel unsafe. Next question. If I'd met you individually, then I could have told each of you which was your problem. Okay. In order for children to care about others, they need. Let's go to that question. Also here, sorry, this is also another answer. And the next paragraph, that needs a positive, caring relationship. Now here the answer is, children should be helped to recognize their own feelings and express them. Okay? And recognize and express them. The same thing is learning to identify and label their feelings. Afterwards we have an example, but this is the same thing written, the same words written twice. Okay, you got that right. Why does Zambex advise parents to stay calm? I think a few of you got this wrong, so it's worth looking at. Why does he advise you to stay calm? She advises parents to stay calm. The more emotionally aroused you are, the more aroused the child is likely to become. So if you become emotional, the child will become emotional. Obviously, hitting or screaming results in anger and fear. So because the child copies your behavior, that's why you should stay calm. Okay? Hope that's clear now. Quickly to the next question. I think obviously this is quite obvious, the next one, most of you got it right. It in paragraph 11 referred to, why should experiments be explicit? Well, let's go and have a look at the explicit business. They need to have it explained. Even the very young children need to know how their behavior affects others, experts say. They have to have it explained. It here refers to their behavior. Some of you got that wrong. Can you understand? they need to know how their behavior affects others. They need to have it explained how their behavior affects others. You need to have that explained to them. Okay, be really explicit. Why? Because children draw conclusions as easily as an older person. Okay? Next question. Can empathy be taught at an older age? Yes, no. Give proof. So we go down to the next paragraphs. Although an early start is ideal, experts say it is possible to install empathy later. Even, for example, in children where emotional security was neglected. So even children that didn't get emotional security, bitachon chevati, when they were little, they can still get it afterwards. It's undoing the damage, kilola, fatser ala nezakim. And they've got extra effort as well as unconditional love. Okay. Next one, I think it's do as I do. Okay, what does the do as I do mean? Give an example from section 3. So let's have a look at do as I do. We see him doing it. You know, the old saying, do as I do. You need to be seen doing it. And you need to show caring behavior towards your child. So the examples in the text of this, but obviously do as I do, as most of you got, means copy my model of behavior. And I think this one you got right. Now here, positive uses of empathy. So manifestos of empathy is positive. Okay? Fostering empathy is positive. Lacking empathy is obviously negative. You don't have empathy. Inspiring empathy is very positive. Instilling to give empathy is also positive. Capacity is neutral, because your capacity could be positive or negative. And absence of empathy is negative. So all these words at the front, manifestations, is how it's shown, how the empathy is shown. So that's what the answers. So you've got one more assignment, and what we're going to do is to try and find a time to meet when you come to take an exam. So we can eventually get to see everybody. I hope this is now clear, and I'm sorry I wanted to do this with you individually, but I know a few people have found this very difficult. I know Doron, Elite, and Yakir, and so if you still have problems, please speak to me. But as I said, Yakir, you were fine to the last few questions. I think you didn't read it properly. You got too tired. So if there's still questions, I'm only too pleased to find another time to meet you. Thank you very much.